I've been an RN for 5 years now, or a registered nurse. And there are still times where I still feel like I don't know anything, and that imposter syndrome is at the back of my mind saying, "You're not enough, you're inadequate." But I just have to keep those feelings and those thoughts deep, deep down back into my brain just so that I could actually be competent enough to do my job. As an RN, I've made a lot of mistakes, I've made a lot of failures, but those are the things that has to happen as a learning opportunity for me to know the lessons that I learned now as an RN. After 5 years working in this career, I have learned a lot of lessons and I want to compile them into 10. And those are the lessons that I have learned in my professional and my personal life and how I carry them into my day to day tasks and into my day to day life. They change my perspective and my point of view of how I take care of my patients, how I deal with my coworkers, and how I deal with my emotions and how I tackle my physical and mental health. Some of the life lessons that I learned are a little bit harsh, but all of them are real. So let me share you the top 10 things and top 10 lessons that I learned as an RN. Nursing is way more legal than you think. The nursing school teaches you fundamental skills of how to become a nurse, but they never really teach you the legalities behind nursing. It does involve a lot of legal awareness. So that's why I always emphasize the importance of documentation. Documentation can protect your career. Again, I want to emphasize that documentation can protect your career. You can be held accountable for a lot of the things that you do when you're taking care of a patient. That's why a good, efficient, and proficient documentation is so important because sometimes 5, 10, 20 years from now, I'm not really sure how the rules work, but you will get a letter or a summon to go to court because you took care of this one patient who passed away. And sometimes you don't even remember who that patient is, and they're only gonna rely on your documentation. So that's why, again, please be mindful of your documentation. You will get emotionally attached to your patients. You will build that rapport with them, that patient nurse relationship. It is impossible to avoid. That's why a lot of your patients will stick around in your memories forever, some more than others. That's why when your first patient passes away on you, it'll hit hard. It'll be tough. It'll be tough on you mentally and emotionally. Over time, you will handle it much better though. But just that first one, or even that second or third one, it will be tough. And sometimes you will break down whenever you experience that, especially for people who have not dealt with any kind of death experience in their personal life. That first death that you will ever experience in your career will be tough. Patience and emotional control are critical. Patients can be rude, demanding, and aggressive, and they will infuriate you, they will upset you. Those are normal things that you will feel, and that is fine. We are human too, and emotions are normal for us. All of those things that you will feel, you will really get stressed and really, really stressed. But at the same time, you can't really let that show just because you have to maintain that professionalism in front of your patients as much as possible. Learning to control your emotions is part of the job. No matter how stressed you are, no matter how aggravated you are towards them, controlling your emotions is, again, part of the job. That's why whenever you feel like you can't handle it anymore, talk to your coworkers, talk to your team members. They will help you because, again, I'm pretty sure 100% they have experienced what you have experienced as well. And sometimes, if you feel like your mental capacity or your mental health is taking a toll on everything, a lot of medical fields out there, or a lot of hospitals, clinics, facilities offer mental health counseling or some kind of therapy just so that it helps you be a little bit more productive at work. So if you feel the need to do that, please do because your mental health is important. Asking questions can save a life. No questions is too dumb in nursing. I want to emphasize that. No question is too dumb in nursing. There's a few times in my life, the first few months and first few years in my nursing career, that I've always wanted to ask a question, but I felt like it was too dumb or too stupid because I don't want to be that guy who feels like they're the incompetent. They're the ones who don't know the answers. But double checking with your team members can actually prevent medical errors and may even prevent someone's life being endangered. You could save someone's life by asking a question. So trust your instincts, trust your nursing judgment. You will build that over time. And whenever you do have that instinct or judgment to ask something, please do. Always speak up. Listening to your patients is just as important as treating them. Patients know their bodies. They know their normals, they know their abnormals. There will be times where sometimes they don't know their own bodies and you know that you know it more than they do. But again, in general speaking, they will know it more than you do. Some people just have unusual baselines. They might either be normally hypertensive or hypotensive, uh, tachycardic or bradycardic, which basically means they are either have high blood pressure, low blood pressure, or high heart rate, low heart rate. In simple terms, anyway. As much as possible, we don't want them to be that way. But throughout their life, sometimes they are just like that. So again, always listen to them. A small detail they mention can be a critical clue for whatever they are feeling, for whatever symptoms that they have felt. Death isn't the worst thing in the world. You will see peaceful deaths and you will see tragic deaths. Sometimes passing away is a relief for the family and for the patient. There are a few things in life where sometimes just letting your family member go and letting someone go is probably the most peaceful way of letting them be. You don't want to torture them, you don't want to punish them by giving all these medical procedures, medical treatments that will prolong their life, but it will only hold back what is inevitable. That's why when you see those kind of things on a day to day basis, I myself learned how to appreciate my mortality. If you're not in the medical field, because again, I wasn't in the medical field all throughout my life, so I never really understand the importance of where you are right now, who you are, the life that you're living right now. I never ever even thought about that. Again, there's a philosophical questioning behind all those aspects, but in the grand scheme of things, sometimes we do take our life and do take our health for granted. That's why it's also important to just reflect and see, are we living the life that we want right now? You are just a number to the hospital. No matter how much you love your job, no matter how much loyal you are to the job, sometimes you're just a number to them. The system treats you as a replaceable. It might be just a pessimistic thing to say, but sometimes that is the reality that if someone can hire someone and train them for the job that you are doing, then that means you are replaceable. That's why there's no honor in skipping breaks. There's no honor in overworking or overexerting yourself. There's no honor in taking a toll for your mental and physical health. Take care of yourself as much as possible. Burnout is real. Remember, if the opportunity comes up where it's going to be better for you physically and mentally and financially, maybe it is a better opportunity for you to go to that one company compared to the company that you're with right now. We take our health for granted. I did mention this a few minutes ago, but it is real. We do take our life for granted, or I mean, our health for granted. I've seen so many of my patients on their deathbed regretting the life that they lived or regretting the choices they lived and the lifestyle that they lived. Sometimes they just say they haven't lived their lives fully. Many do realize late in their life, and they wish that they could turn back time and just do something about it. This job as an RN made me feel appreciated of where I am right now, health wise. Sometimes they will tell me, learn from my mistakes. And I have. I'm trying to not regret the things that they have regretted. I'm trying to take care of myself as much as possible. And again, there will be a lot of mistakes and a lot of failures along the way. And those are just the things that sometimes life will throw at me. And that is fine. That's life. But as much as possible, the lesson that I learned from that one is just to not take my health for granted. And that's a good segue for my next lesson, which is some diseases just happen no matter what. No matter how preventive you are, no matter how cautious you are, no matter how much prepared you are for something, some diseases just happen. And then some of your patients will ask you, why did this happen? I took all the precautions measures, all the preventative measures. Why did this still happen? And again, sometimes we just don't have the answer for that because it just happens. No matter how healthy you are, no matter how much right lifestyle choices you've made, sometimes it's just a little bit hard to say what caused it to happen. That's why for me, it is important for me to be more compassionate to them than judgmental. Because again, a lot of patients out there do have their own specific lifestyle that led them to where they are now, but some of them don't. So please, as much as possible, be more compassionate than judgmental. Patients will always remember how you made them feel. They might forget who you are, they might forget your name, your face, but whenever they see you, sometimes outside of work actually, and as much as possible, I try not to do that, or I try not to interact with them outside of work because I feel like that's a little bit awkward for me. But there will be times like that, and they will tell you, thank you for everything that you have done. And just that little phrase alone makes me feel appreciated, makes me feel a lot more better of what I do. A little patience and a little empathy can go a long way. You will make an impact, and sometimes you don't even realize it. And those are just some of the things, the 10 lessons that I learned as an RN. Again, there will be a lot of lessons that I will still learn and that I haven't learned. But those are only a few things that I want to share to you guys that I will bring with me forever. So if you're a fellow RN, a fellow medical worker, or someone who wants to go into the medical field, or someone who is just curious from a person of a different perspective, what do you think? Is there any kind of lessons that you learned? Is there any kind of things that you want to learn? Is there a kind of different point of view that you think you may share? Being in this line of field is rough and tough, but no matter how hard it is, the reality of it is it's probably the most meaningful job out there. I'll see you in the next one.